The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm glow over our quiet home in Asheville. I often found solace in the rhythm of my life, a peaceful existence with my partner and his son. We had settled into a comfortable routine, one that felt predictable yet comforting. The laughter of family dinners echoed through the halls, and the aroma of home-cooked meals filled the air. Yet, beneath this facade of tranquility, something was shifting within me. It was during one of our family outings to the River Arts District that I first felt it, a sudden jolt of awareness that made my heart race. We strolled through vibrant galleries, surrounded by local crafts and stunning artwork. The atmosphere buzzed with creativity, yet my focus drifted elsewhere. I caught myself stealing glances at him as he admired a colorful painting, his expression a mix of curiosity and admiration. There was an innocence in that moment, but it ignited something unexpected within me. As we moved from one gallery to another, I tried to shake off the feeling. I reminded myself of the years between us and the role I played in his life. He was my stepson, we shared a connection through family ties rather than anything deeper. Yet, as we stood outside a cafe filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee, he turned to me with an unexpected compliment. "Your dress looks nice," he said casually, his eyes meeting mine for just a moment longer than necessary. The comment sent an electric shock through me. I managed to smile and thank him while internally grappling with the implications of his words. Was it merely a kind gesture or something more? The exchange lingered in my mind as we continued our outing. Every shared laugh felt charged with unspoken tension. As we walked along the street lined with art installations and local vendors, I felt an overwhelming urge to connect with him beyond our familial roles. My thoughts spiraled into territories I never intended to explore. What if there was more between us? What if this attraction blossomed into something undeniable? The notion both thrilled and terrified me. Later that evening, back at home, I found myself unable to shake off the day's events. After dinner, while cleaning up in the kitchen, memories from earlier replayed vividly in my mind, the way he smiled when he thought no one was watching or how effortlessly he engaged with those around him. Each recollection tugged at my heartstrings. I placed a dish down too forcefully, it clattered against the sink as frustration bubbled up inside me. Why did this have to happen now? My life had been serene until this strange yearning crept in like an unwelcome guest. It felt selfish to harbor such feelings when everything around us seemed so stable. The next day passed slowly as I tried to regain my composure amidst mundane tasks, grocery shopping at our local market and sipping coffee alone at a nearby cafe while watching people bustle by outside. Yet everywhere I turned reminded me of him. His laughter echoed in every corner of our home. Even mundane objects seemed infused with memories we shared. Days turned into weeks as summer faded into fall, yet those stolen moments haunted me relentlessly, his casual touches during family activities or how our eyes met across crowded rooms filled with loved ones. Each encounter left me feeling unsettled yet yearning for more. Then came another family outing, a picnic at Blue Ridge Parkway where trees blazed with autumn colors under clear blue skies. As we spread out blankets on soft grass overlooking breathtaking views, laughter erupted among us like fireworks against twilight skies. But amidst this idyllic setting lay an undercurrent of tension between us, an unspoken bond forming beneath layers of familial affection that threatened to unravel everything if exposed. While sharing sandwiches under dappled sunlight, he brushed against my hand while reaching for another drink from the cooler nearby, a seemingly innocent gesture but one that ignited sparks within me once again. "Sorry," he murmured quickly before shifting away awkwardly as if sensing something unsaid lingered between us. I swallowed hard but managed only silence in response. Words escaped me entirely as confusion clouded my thoughts further still. How could attraction exist where none should dwell? As dusk settled around us like soft velvet drapes enveloping all light around it, the sky painted shades of purple, I caught him looking at me again when he thought no one noticed. His gaze lingered longer than before, stirring something deep inside. A longing for connection that transcended boundaries set by society or circumstance itself. That evening marked another turning point. I returned home feeling restless yet alive, caught between two worlds, one dictated by expectations and norms while another beckoned towards unknown possibilities fraught with danger but equally enticing allure. Yet amidst all these swirling emotions lay uncertainty. Could such feelings ever be reciprocated? Would pursuing them jeopardize everything built thus far? As night fell upon Asheville's streets illuminated softly by street lamps glowing warmly against cool air, a sense of foreboding settled within me. What lay ahead remained uncertain but undeniably compelling enough for contemplation amidst quiet nights spent lost within thoughts echoing unanswered questions about what could be. The air was thick with an unspoken tension, a palpable charge that lingered between us like a fine mist. I busied myself with mundane tasks around the house, trying to maintain the semblance of normalcy. Yet every moment spent in close proximity to him felt like walking a tightrope, teetering on the edge of something I couldn't quite define. One afternoon, while organizing books in the living room, he entered with a lightness that seemed at odds with my inner turmoil. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on his features. As he reached for a book on the top shelf, our hands brushed against each other. The accidental touch sent an electric jolt through me, igniting feelings I had tried so hard to suppress. I quickly withdrew my hand, pretending to be engrossed in the spines of dusty volumes before me. "Sorry about that," he said casually, though his eyes lingered on mine for just a moment longer than necessary. I nodded, forcing a smile as my heart raced. "No problem." That simple exchange marked the beginning of an uncharted territory, a place where innocence and attraction intertwined dangerously. My mind raced back to moments shared over family dinners and quiet evenings spent watching movies together. Each glance exchanged felt heavier now, laden with unspoken words and desires. Later that week, we found ourselves working side by side in the kitchen. It was a Saturday afternoon. The sun filtered through the window as we prepared dinner together. Chopping vegetables became an art of subtle glances and lingering touches as we passed utensils back and forth. A shared laughter broke the tension when I accidentally dropped a carrot onto the floor. "Looks like you've got some competition," he joked, bending down to retrieve it. In that moment, our eyes locked again, an intensity simmering just beneath the surface. The world around us faded away. It was just him and me in that kitchen filled with aromas of garlic and herbs. And then it happened. Our faces were mere inches apart when he whispered something that sent my heart racing further into unknown territory. "I still remember when we kissed." The words hung in the air like an echo from another time, an innocent childhood memory buried beneath layers of growing up and shifting family dynamics. But now it felt like more than just nostalgia. It was a reminder of what lay beneath our surface interactions. I swallowed hard and managed to reply with feigned nonchalance. "That was ages ago." "Yeah," he said softly, his gaze unwavering. "But it's funny how some things stick with you." I turned back to chopping vegetables as heat crept up my cheeks. Was this flirtation or mere reminiscence? The line blurred further as we continued cooking in silence punctuated only by occasional laughter or shared glances. As evening descended upon Asheville, I found myself lost in thought while washing dishes after dinner. The warm water enveloped my hands as I scrubbed away remnants of our meal together, but all I could think about was that fleeting moment, the brush of lips from years past igniting an inferno within me now. Later that night, after everyone had retired for bed, I wandered into my study, a small sanctuary filled with books and memories, seeking solace from swirling emotions threatening to consume me whole. I picked up one particular volume adorned with portraits from artists long gone. Their expressions captured timeless stories within each brushstroke. Flipping through its pages brought comfort amidst confusion, yet every portrait seemed to reflect not only artistry but also longing. The same kind of longing brewing within me lately. A soft knock interrupted my reverie. It was him standing at the doorframe looking uncertain yet hopeful somehow. "Can I come in?" he asked hesitantly. I nodded mutely as he stepped inside, closing the door behind him softly, an act both mundane yet charged with significance now. "What are you reading?" he asked, glancing at the book resting open on my lap. "Just something about art," I replied nonchalantly, even though my pulse quickened under his scrutiny. "I've always thought art captures emotions better than words ever could," he mused, leaning against my desk casually yet intimately close enough for me to sense warmth radiating off him. I met his gaze again, feeling undeniably drawn into those depths filled with curiosity, and something else entirely different too, a connection beyond familial bonds woven tightly over years spent together under one roof. His voice lowered almost conspiratorially as he continued speaking about his own artistic aspirations, his dreams hanging suspended between us like fragile threads waiting for someone brave enough to tug at them gently without fear of unraveling everything else around us. And then there it was again, the memory resurfacing unbidden. We kissed. The weight of those words hung heavily between us now, an acknowledgement both thrilling yet terrifying at once. And suddenly all barriers erected over time felt flimsy under scrutiny. From this new perspective we found ourselves navigating together amidst shadows cast by flickering candlelight illuminating our faces softly against darkened walls surrounding us both, physically and emotionally alike. In that moment everything shifted irrevocably, as if time itself paused, allowing space for possibilities previously unexplored. A chance encounter rooted deep within shared histories intertwining unexpectedly, leading toward uncertain futures ahead filled either joy or despair depending solely upon choices made next. But before either of us could articulate thoughts swirling wildly inside, we heard footsteps approaching outside, breaking our fragile bubble formed moments prior. Reality intruded upon intimacy, reminding us both harshly of roles played within this family unit established long ago, preventing exploration beyond boundaries set forth initially without consideration given toward evolving desires hidden underneath, layers accumulated over years spent cohabitating together harmoniously until now. The festival arrived, vibrant and bustling, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. I found myself wandering through the stalls, the scent of fried dough and roasted corn mingling in the air. My mind was elsewhere, though, preoccupied with thoughts of him. The anticipation of his impending trip loomed over me like a dark cloud, casting shadows over the fleeting moments we had shared. I spotted him across the grassy expanse, laughing with friends. He looked carefree, and for a moment, I envied that innocence. Our eyes met briefly before he turned back to his companions, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within me. I felt a pang of longing as I recalled our last encounter, how our lips met in a moment that felt both wrong and exhilarating. As I moved through the crowd, I was acutely aware of my surroundings. The laughter of families and children echoed around me, couples strolled hand in hand, their happiness starkly contrasting my internal conflict. I tried to focus on the colorful crafts displayed at each booth, but my heart was not in it. Each piece seemed to mock my situation, the vibrant colors reminding me how dull my life felt without him nearby. I approached a stall selling handmade pottery. A small vase caught my eye, a simple piece with intricate designs etched into its surface. It reminded me of our conversations about art and creativity. As I picked it up to examine it closer, I heard footsteps behind me. "Nice choice," he said casually, startling me from my thoughts. I turned around to face him. His presence sent a rush of warmth through me despite the chaos surrounding us. "I thought so too," I replied softly, trying to maintain an air of nonchalance. He leaned closer as if sharing a secret only meant for us. "You always know how to pick beautiful things." The compliment lingered between us like an unspoken truth, an acknowledgement of something deeper that existed beneath our surface interactions. My heart raced as he stood there, so near yet so far from what we both knew was possible but forbidden. "Have you enjoyed the festival?" I asked, attempting to divert my mind from wandering down paths better left unexplored. "It's fun," he said with a casual shrug. But honestly, I'm just trying to soak up every moment before, you know. His voice trailed off as if he couldn't bear to say what lay ahead. Before I could respond, he suggested we grab some food together, a distraction from the weightiness settling between us like fog on an early morning in Asheville. We walked side by side through the throngs of people until we reached a food truck serving tacos. As we waited for our order, our shoulders brushed against each other occasionally, sending jolts through me each time it happened. The connection felt electric yet frightening. The realization that this could be one of our last moments together hung heavily in the air. We found a quiet spot beneath an oak tree where we could eat away from prying eyes. As we sat on the grass with our tacos in hand, laughter bubbled between us as we reminisced about past family gatherings, those seemingly innocent moments now tinged with complexity. "Remember when you tried to teach me how to paint?" he asked between bites. How could I forget? I chuckled softly at the memory, his frustration evident when colors mixed into muddy hues instead of vibrant landscapes. "Maybe you should give it another shot," he teased lightly before his expression shifted slightly, a seriousness overtaking his playful demeanor. "Maybe," I replied carefully. Every word felt loaded now as if they carried weight beyond their simple meanings. We finished eating quickly. Time was slipping away faster than either of us wanted to admit. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting golden hues across everything around us, a picturesque backdrop for what might be our final shared moment before his departure. "I should probably head back soon," he said reluctantly after glancing at his watch, an unspoken acknowledgement passing between us that neither dared voice aloud. "Yeah," I replied quietly. Dread settled deep within me at the thought of him leaving without fully exploring what lay between us, the connection that had formed unexpectedly amidst mundane routines and daily life. Just then, a group of teenagers rushed past us laughing loudly, their carefree joy starkly contrasted with our heavy hearts sitting beneath that oak tree together, two souls caught in an emotional web neither fully understood yet couldn't escape from either. He leaned closer again as if drawn by an invisible force pulling him toward me despite all reason urging caution instead, our shared vulnerability creating space for something more profound than words could express openly here among strangers enjoying their evening festivities nearby unaware of secrets unfolding quietly beneath them. And then it happened. Our lips met once more, unexpectedly igniting flames buried deep within hearts yearning for connection amidst chaos surrounding everyday life filled with responsibilities often overshadowing desires left unspoken until now. But just as quickly as it began, it ended. Reality intruded like an unwelcome guest, forcing us apart again before either could fully grasp what had transpired or contemplate its meaning, moving forward into uncertain futures awaiting ahead filled with choices yet unseen waiting patiently just beyond reach, tempting fate beckoning toward potential joy or despair depending solely upon decisions made next. The moment passed too swiftly, leaving behind lingering warmth where there had been hesitation moments ago. Uncertainty replaced by urgency pressing against both chests, echoing louder than laughter surrounding us, reminding each other harshly about roles played within this family unit established long ago, preventing exploration beyond boundaries set forth initially, without consideration given toward evolving desires hidden underneath layers accumulated over years spent cohabitating together harmoniously until now. The days stretched out in a dull monotony, each one echoing the absence of his presence. I busied myself with household chores and the familiar rhythm of daily life, yet the quietness felt heavier than before. The house, once filled with laughter and shared moments, now seemed to hold its breath. I found myself wandering through rooms, touching objects that reminded me of him, a book left on the table, a jacket draped over a chair. Each item was a ghost of what had been. In the evenings, I often sat by the window with a cup of tea, watching the sun dip below the Blue Ridge Mountains. The vibrant hues painted across the sky felt like a cruel reminder of the vibrancy he brought into my life. I missed our conversations, our stolen glances that spoke volumes more than words ever could. Loneliness crept in like an unwelcome visitor, settling into my bones as I replayed memories in my mind. Then one afternoon, as I sorted through some old letters tucked away in a drawer, I stumbled upon one that sent my heart racing. It was from him, unexpected and unbidden. The familiar handwriting danced across the page, igniting a flicker of warmth within me. He spoke of his travels and how he missed home, but it was a single line that struck me most: "I've been thinking about how we spent the night together." Those words hung in the air like an unspoken promise. I clutched the letter tightly, feeling its weight as if it were an anchor pulling me back to that moment, a memory wrapped in warmth and confusion. We had shared laughter and secrets under starry skies. We had ventured into territories unknown without ever fully acknowledging where we stood. The thrill of those moments lingered like perfume in the air long after he'd left. As days turned into weeks, his absence became an ache I couldn't ignore. The mundane tasks felt hollow without him around to share them with. Even cooking dinner seemed pointless when I was no longer preparing meals for three. My partner noticed my distraction but attributed it to work stress or fatigue from daily responsibilities. "Are you all right?" he would ask gently during dinner. "Yes," I would reply too quickly, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. But inside me churned a storm of emotions: frustration at myself for feeling this way and guilt for allowing such feelings to fester in silence. The contrast between my hidden desires and my responsibilities weighed heavily on my conscience. One evening, while sitting on our porch watching fireflies dance in twilight's embrace, I contemplated reaching out to him. My fingers hovered over my phone as uncertainty gnawed at me. What would I say? Would he feel the same pull toward me? Or had time dulled whatever bond we had forged? The thought of sending a simple text filled me with both excitement and dread. Would it be too forward? Would it open doors best left closed? My heart raced at the prospect of hearing from him again, of reigniting that secret spark that had begun to flicker before his departure. In moments alone with my thoughts, daydreams took shape. What if he returned sooner than expected? What if our next encounter held more weight than before? A part of me longed for clarity, another part feared what clarity might reveal about our tangled lives. Days passed slowly until finally an unexpected knock broke through my reverie one afternoon while preparing lunch. Opening the door revealed not him but an old friend, a familiar face from years past who had come to visit unexpectedly while traveling through Asheville. We exchanged pleasantries as she stepped inside, her energy filling up space that had felt so empty for weeks. "Is everything okay?" she asked after noticing my distracted demeanor during lunch preparations. I hesitated before responding but ultimately shrugged it off with vague reassurances about work stress again, an easy excuse that rolled off my tongue far too easily given how much more complicated things truly were beneath the surface. As we chatted about local art shows and community events happening around town, the River Arts District bustling with creativity, I couldn't shake thoughts about him lingering just beyond reach like wisps of smoke dissipating into thin air whenever I tried grasping them firmly enough to understand fully what they meant moving forward. She suggested visiting some galleries together later that week. Perhaps immersing myself back into art would provide distraction or inspiration away from these tangled feelings swirling within me like autumn leaves caught up in gusts of wind without direction or purpose anymore. That evening, after she left and darkness enveloped everything outside again, enveloping me into solitude once more, I picked up his letter again, rereading those lines about spending time together, the memories flooding back vividly despite how brief they were compared to everything else surrounding us both now. What was happening between us? What could happen if we allowed ourselves another chance at exploring those feelings openly? The questions echoed endlessly until sleep finally claimed me later on that night, dreaming not just about our shared moments but also imagining possibilities ahead filled with hope yet tempered by caution, knowing full well how complicated life could become when hearts intertwined beyond boundaries set long ago. I awoke suddenly early next morning feeling restless. Something deep inside urged action rather than continued contemplation, alone trapped within these walls, keeping secrets hidden away from everyone else around us, both still unaware. The sun broke through clouds, illuminating everything outside, casting shadows against walls, reminding me vividly once more how fleeting time could be if not seized properly when opportunities arose unexpectedly. With newfound determination coursing through every fiber within me, I sat down at last, beginning to draft out words, carefully choosing each phrase, hoping they might convey everything left unsaid between us thus far, longing desperately for connection again. The family gathering loomed like a storm cloud, heavy with unspoken tension. I busied myself in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for the salad, while my thoughts drifted back to the last time I had seen him. The memory of our shared moment lingered, a bittersweet reminder of what lay between us and the boundaries we were bound to uphold. As family members began to arrive, laughter and chatter filled the air. I forced a smile, greeting everyone with the same warmth I had always shown. Yet beneath my facade, a tempest brewed. He walked in shortly after his friends, his presence electrifying the room. I caught his eye across the space, and for a fleeting second, it felt as though we were alone again, just us against the world. "Hey," he said casually as he approached me, his voice low enough that only I could hear. "Hi," I replied, trying to keep my tone light. "How was your trip?" He shrugged nonchalantly, but there was an intensity in his gaze that sent shivers down my spine. "Not bad. Could have been better." I nodded, sensing an unspoken message behind his words. The air between us crackled with possibilities yet unacknowledged. As dinner began and plates clinked together amid cheerful banter, I struggled to focus on conversations around me. My mind wandered back to that photograph I had stumbled upon earlier in the day, a snapshot from years ago of our family at a picnic by the river. The light had caught him just right. He looked so carefree then, so full of life. It was impossible not to think how much had changed since then. In that moment of nostalgia, I found myself lost in thought until my partner nudged me gently. "Are you okay?" he asked quietly. I forced another smile, one that didn't quite reach my eyes. "Just reminiscing." Later in the evening, while everyone else was engrossed in games and stories from old times, he pulled me aside into a quieter corner of the house. "I've been thinking about coming back sooner," he said suddenly, his tone serious now. "What do you mean?" My heart raced at the implication behind his words. "I don't know, just feels like there's unfinished business here." His eyes searched mine for understanding. A rush of emotions surged through me, fear mixed with hope, as I considered what this meant for both of us. "You have your life ahead of you," I reminded him softly but firmly. He stepped closer. I could feel his warmth radiating toward me despite the distance we tried to maintain publicly. "But what if this is part of it? What if we need to figure this out?" My breath caught in my throat as memories flooded back, the stolen glances and quiet moments shared between us that felt like they belonged to another world altogether. Before I could respond fully, laughter erupted from the other room as someone cracked a joke about old family traditions, an attempt to lighten the mood that felt increasingly heavy between us. As we returned to join everyone else, my heart was pounding with uncertainty about what lay ahead. How could we navigate this tangled web without causing harm? Later that night, after guests had left and silence enveloped our home once more, exhaustion washed over me like a wave crashing against rocks on a rugged shore. My partner settled beside me on the couch while flipping through channels absent-mindedly. It felt surreal sitting there with him when all I could think about were those lingering thoughts of another presence, the one who stirred something within me that had long been dormant. "Everything okay?" he asked again as if sensing my distraction. "Yes," I replied too quickly before forcing myself to focus on him instead of what lurked just beyond reach within my mind. As days passed following that gathering filled with unspoken words and hidden glances exchanged between us two, my stepson and me, I found myself increasingly drawn into daydreams where possibilities danced tantalizingly close yet remained forever out of grasp. Then came another letter from him. A simple note slipped under my door one afternoon while everything outside continued its usual rhythm. It carried no grand declarations but rather an invitation for coffee at our local cafe, the same place where many secrets had been shared over steaming mugs before. The thought sent butterflies fluttering wildly in my stomach as anticipation surged through every fiber within me once more, a chance to reconnect away from prying eyes and judgmental whispers surrounding our lives together under one roof. On that fateful day at the cafe nestled within Asheville's River Arts District, its vibrant colors reflecting creativity spilling onto sidewalks, I arrived early hoping to gather myself before facing him again amidst all these swirling emotions threatening chaos inside me like an impending storm brewing overhead. When he walked through those doors moments later, the familiar warmth radiating off him like sunshine breaking through clouds, I lost track of everything else around us. It felt as though time stood still just for us two alone in our little bubble away from reality outside those walls encasing us safely together. "Hey," he greeted softly as he slid into the seat opposite mine, his eyes sparkling with mischief reminiscent of childhood memories flooding back unexpectedly filling spaces once occupied solely by longing now replaced by something deeper than mere attraction lingering palpably between us both. "Hi," came out barely above a whisper escaping past lips quivering slightly under pressure mounting steadily beneath surface calmness feigned so well until now. We talked easily at first about mundane topics, art festivals coming up soon or plans for summer trips, but every word exchanged seemed charged somehow imbued with unsaid feelings pressing against walls built carefully around hearts unwillingly exposed yet yearning desperately for connection forged anew despite all obstacles standing tall between them still looming large, overhead casting shadows long enough not allowing light through completely. Then silence fell upon us suddenly when conversation dwindled down leaving only sounds surrounding cafe ambience filling void created by absence left behind once laughter ceased echoing throughout space shared together intimately moments before. His gaze lingered longer than necessary meeting mine directly without flinching even slightly causing heat rising cheeks betraying feelings kept hidden far too long finally spilling forth uncontrollably now threatening spillover beyond control. "We need talk," he stated finally breaking silence stretching taut across tables separating souls intertwined deeply yet physically distant still bound by circumstances beyond own making unable escape fully without consequences looming large ahead uncertain outcomes waiting, patiently just beyond horizon beckoning softly whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. I nodded slowly feeling weight pressing heavily upon shoulders burdened by secrets held tightly close fearing repercussions arising should truth ever slip free spilling forth chaos inevitable unraveling lives entwined irrevocably forever changed if only one step taken towards unknown future waiting patiently outside reach still beckoning gently drawing nearer each passing moment spent together lingering longer than intended perhaps leading somewhere entirely unexpected neither prepared face. Fully yet yearning nonetheless despite fears holding tightly onto past firmly rooted deep within heart's aching release long overdue finally unleashed into open air unencumbered freely roaming wild searching desperately seeking solace found nowhere else but here right now. The sun dipped low over Asheville, casting long shadows across the living room where I sat, a book open in my lap but my mind miles away. The weight of my secret pressed heavily against my chest, a constant reminder of the delicate balance I was trying to maintain. My partner was in the kitchen, oblivious to the turmoil stirring within me, focused on preparing dinner as if everything was perfectly normal. I glanced at the clock. Soon, he would return home. The anticipation of his arrival sent a shiver down my spine. It was not just his presence I awaited but also the unspoken connection I shared with his son. The thought of him lingered like a ghost, haunting yet comforting. The doorbell rang unexpectedly, breaking the silence. My heart raced as I stood up, unsure of who could be visiting at this hour. Opening the door revealed one of his friends, a cheerful young man whose bright energy contrasted sharply with my own internal chaos. "Hey. Is he around?" he asked with an easy smile. I hesitated for a moment before nodding. "He's in the kitchen." As I stepped aside to let him in, I felt an odd pang of jealousy twist in my stomach. This friend had no idea about the complicated feelings swirling beneath our shared roof. I forced a smile and retreated to my seat, hoping to disappear into the background as they exchanged greetings. Their laughter filled the space, light and carefree, reminding me of what once felt like an uncomplicated family life. Yet now, every laugh felt like a reminder of what lay unsaid between us, a tension that seemed to grow with each passing day. While they chatted about mundane topics, school assignments and weekend plans, I found myself drifting into daydreams again. What would it be like if things were different? If we could share our thoughts freely without fear or consequence? Images danced through my mind, stolen moments under starlit skies or quiet walks along the Blue Ridge Parkway where we could speak without judgment. The conversation turned towards an upcoming concert that his friend excitedly mentioned. "You should come. It'll be fun," he urged enthusiastically. I forced myself to engage but felt nothing but dread at the thought of being in public with them both, the weight of secrets hovering like dark clouds overhead. "Maybe," I replied non-committally, trying to mask my inner turmoil. As they continued their banter, I caught glimpses of him, his laughter that echoed like music against my heartstrings and those quick glances exchanged when he thought no one was watching. Each flicker ignited memories that felt alive within me. We kissed, whispered echoes from that night we had shared, our vulnerability resurfaced in vivid detail. "Are you okay?" His friend's voice broke through my reverie as he turned toward me, concern etched across his features. "Yes," I replied too quickly, forcing another smile as warmth crept up my cheeks from embarrassment. His friend shrugged and returned his attention back to my partner, leaving me alone once more with thoughts spiraling out of control. The pressure mounted as they spoke about future plans, traveling together after graduation and exploring new cities while I sat tethered to this house filled with secrets and unfulfilled desires. After what felt like hours but was likely only minutes, they finally moved toward wrapping up their visit. As they headed toward the door, I caught one last glance at him, my stepson, with an expression so familiar yet foreign now that it made my heart ache anew. "See you later," he called over his shoulder casually before stepping outside into dusk's embrace with his friend beside him. I closed the door softly behind them and leaned against it for support as if it could shield me from everything swirling inside me, the longing and regret mixing into something almost unbearable. The quietness enveloped me like a thick fog, reality settled back around me once more. In that moment alone, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I'd been holding. The room felt emptier without their presence, loneliness crept back in as shadows deepened around me. What would happen next? Would he return soon? Would we have another chance to explore what lay beneath our surface interactions? My mind raced through possibilities while reality loomed large, a tangible barrier separating fantasy from truth. Days passed slowly after that evening visit, each moment stretched thin under the weight of anticipation and uncertainty about what might come next. My partner remained blissfully unaware while I grappled internally with emotions swirling dangerously close to spilling over into something irrevocable, a truth neither of us were prepared for yet desperately craved nonetheless. Then came another letter. A simple note slipped under our front door one afternoon while I stood washing dishes at the sink, lost deep in thought about everything left unsaid between us all these weeks since he'd been gone again for school commitments far away from home routines established long ago now. Feeling fragile at best under scrutiny brought by time apart, amplifying every flicker shared previously until now reduced down merely to echoes fading quietly into memory. The note read simply, "I miss you." My heart raced as those words sank in deeper than any conversation ever could. They resonated through every fiber within me, awakening desires long suppressed by fear and doubt threatening collapse upon themselves if not addressed soon enough before becoming too overwhelming altogether. What did this mean? Did he feel it too? Or was this simply youthful longing expressed without understanding its full weight? Questions swirled chaotically around inside until clarity struck suddenly amidst confusion, sparking fresh hope, igniting embers still smoldering quietly just beneath surface, yearning desperately, seeking warmth found nowhere else but here right now. But then reality crashed back down upon me again, bringing forth reminders starkly clear. Secrets held tightly carried consequences heavy enough, capable tearing apart lives entwined irrevocably, forever changed should truth ever slip free, spilling forth chaos inevitable, unraveling everything built upon fragile foundations laid carefully over years, spent together, weaving intricate tapestries connecting us all, tightly bound yet teetering precariously close, edge unable escape fully without repercussions looming large ahead, uncertain outcomes waiting patiently just beyond horizon, beckoning softly, whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. The days dragged on, each one blending into the next, yet I remained acutely aware of the ticking clock. The concert loomed ahead, a beacon of both excitement and dread. I could almost hear the music echoing in my mind, mingling with the thoughts that swirled around my heart. Every moment spent in his presence felt charged with unspoken words, yet the fear of what lay beneath that surface kept me from breaking the silence. As I prepared for the evening, I caught sight of myself in the mirror. The woman staring back seemed foreign, an amalgamation of longing and restraint. I dressed carefully, opting for something simple yet elegant, hoping to project an air of calm confidence while my insides churned with uncertainty. Would he notice? Would he see past the facade? The concert hall buzzed with energy as we arrived, filled with familiar faces and vibrant chatter. It was a space where art thrived, and for a brief moment, I felt buoyed by that creativity. Yet amidst the laughter and joy surrounding us, I sensed an underlying tension, a thread connecting us that was both thrilling and terrifying. We found our seats near the front, close enough to feel the warmth radiating from the stage as musicians prepared to perform. The lights dimmed suddenly, casting a spell over everyone present. As music filled the air, it enveloped me like a warm embrace, a stark contrast to the chill creeping into my heart. He leaned closer during a particularly poignant song, our shoulders brushing together as if drawn by an invisible force. My pulse quickened, every nerve ending seemed to awaken in anticipation of what might happen next. But then his voice broke through my reverie. "Isn't this amazing?" he asked softly, eyes sparkling under the soft glow of stage lights. I nodded, forcing a smile while grappling with conflicting emotions. The music swelled around us as if it were amplifying our shared secret, the unacknowledged bond that had grown between us like wildflowers in an untamed garden. Yet amidst this beautiful chaos came another reminder: he would soon leave for good. The thought gnawed at me like an insatiable hunger, it overshadowed every note played that night. My heart raced as I glanced at him again, his profile illuminated by flickering lights, and wondered if he sensed my turmoil or if he was blissfully unaware. As we shared fleeting glances throughout the performance, an unspoken conversation unfolded between us, a language only we understood. Each look held promises unfulfilled and dreams left unsaid. It was intoxicating yet laced with sorrow. When intermission arrived, we stepped outside into cool evening air, buzzing with excitement from those around us. It felt surreal standing there together, everything else faded away until it was just him and me against a backdrop of twinkling stars. "Can we talk?" he asked suddenly, his expression serious but hopeful. I swallowed hard. This was it, the moment where clarity could either shatter or solidify our connection. "Sure," I replied cautiously. He led me away from the crowd toward a quieter corner near some trees lining the venue's edge. The sounds of music faded into a distant hum as we stood facing each other under soft moonlight filtering through branches above us. "I've been thinking about leaving," he admitted quietly, eyes searching mine for understanding or perhaps reassurance. The words hung heavily between us like fog rolling over mountains at dawn, thick and suffocating yet beautiful in its own right. "You have your life ahead of you," I managed to say despite feeling like my heart might break at any moment. "I know," he replied earnestly but without conviction. But what if there's something here worth exploring? Something beyond just being stepmother and stepson? His words sent shockwaves through me, an electrifying jolt igniting every dormant feeling within me again while simultaneously plunging me deeper into uncertainty about what lay ahead. Could we really dare to cross that line? Before I could respond or even fully process his question, laughter erupted from nearby concertgoers drifting back toward us after intermission ended, a stark reminder of reality crashing down upon our fragile bubble created moments before. "Let's go back inside," I said quickly as panic surged through me at how close we were treading toward dangerous territory, one where consequences loomed large on every horizon waiting patiently just beyond sight ready to pounce when least expected. Reluctantly returning to our seats felt like slipping back into chains forged from expectations rather than desires. A familiar prison built over years spent trying to maintain balance within family dynamics while suppressing feelings threatening to spiral out of control at any given moment. The second half unfolded beautifully despite my internal turmoil. Each song resonated deeply within me while visions danced through my mind. What could have been had circumstances been different? What would happen once he left? As applause erupted after final notes faded away softly into silence surrounding us once more enveloping everything whole again like warm blankets wrapping around weary souls seeking solace amid chaos swirling endlessly outside their grasp. But nothing prepared me for what came next. Standing outside under starlit skies again afterwards surrounded by people celebrating life together unaware of personal battles raging beneath surface smiles plastered across faces hiding fears lurking just below skin waiting patiently for opportunity. Strike unexpectedly when least expected. "Before I go," he started hesitantly glancing sideways toward me searching desperately perhaps hoping for affirmation or encouragement even though neither seemed forthcoming. "I want you to know how much this time meant." His voice trembled slightly betraying vulnerability hidden beneath bravado carefully constructed over weeks spent navigating treacherous waters together without ever truly acknowledging depths lying below surface level keeping emotions tightly sealed away. From prying eyes watching closely always ready seize upon weaknesses exposed too freely. And then came those fateful words tumbling forth unbidden spilling secrets long buried deep down where light rarely penetrated illuminating shadows cast across lives tangled intricately together woven tightly bound yet teetering precariously close edge unable. Escape fully without repercussions looming large ahead uncertain outcomes waiting patiently just beyond horizon beckoning softly whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. Maybe we can find our way back someday? My breath caught as realization struck hard. The weight behind those words heavy enough capable tearing apart lives entwined irrevocably forever changed should truth ever slip free spilling forth chaos inevitable unraveling everything built upon fragile foundations laid carefully over years spent together weaving intricate tapestries connecting us all tightly bound yet teetering precariously close edge unable escape fully without repercussions looming large ahead uncertain outcomes waiting patiently just beyond horizon beckoning softly whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. Maybe we can find our way back someday? My breath caught as realization struck hard, the weight behind those words heavy enough to tear apart lives entwined irrevocably forever changed should truth ever slip free, spilling forth chaos inevitable. Unraveling everything built upon fragile foundations laid carefully over years spent together weaving intricate tapestries connecting us all tightly bound yet teetering precariously close to the edge, unable to escape fully without repercussions looming large ahead, uncertain outcomes waiting patiently just beyond the horizon beckoning softly, whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. As I stood there in the dim light of the cafe, surrounded by the comforting aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the muted chatter of patrons, I felt a surge of conflicting emotions. The warmth of his gaze lingered on me like an echo, a reminder of what had transpired between us. The fleeting touches and secret glances had become a language of their own, a silent communication that spoke volumes without uttering a single word. He leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want things to end like this." The tremor in his voice sent ripples through my resolve. I wanted to reach out, to bridge the gap that had formed between us since he announced his departure. But what would that mean? What future could we possibly carve out from this tangled mess? I glanced toward the window where the sun dipped low behind the Blue Ridge Mountains, casting long shadows that mirrored my own uncertainties. I don't either, I replied softly. But how can we? He interrupted me with a sudden intensity. Let's not think about what happens next. Let's just be here now. His words hung in the air like an unspoken promise. The world outside faded away as I focused solely on him, his expression earnest and vulnerable. In that moment, everything else ceased to exist. It was just us in our own bubble of shared secrets and unacknowledged desires. Yet as quickly as it began, reality intruded again. I thought about my partner waiting at home, unaware of the emotional turmoil brewing beneath our seemingly stable surface. This was not just about us, it was about everything we held dear, the lives we had built and the delicate balance we maintained. I can't keep doing this, I murmured, feeling tears prick at the corners of my eyes. The thought of losing him was unbearable, yet so was the thought of continuing down this path with no clear destination in sight. He reached for my hand across the table, his fingers brushing lightly against mine, a simple touch that ignited sparks within me once more. Then let's make today count, he said firmly. With that declaration hanging between us like a fragile thread, we ventured into Asheville's River Arts District together. The vibrant colors and artistic energy enveloped us as we walked side by side through galleries filled with local crafts and paintings bursting with life. Each piece seemed to resonate with our hidden connection, a reflection of what lay beneath our carefully constructed facades. As we strolled past an artist capturing the sunset on canvas, I felt an overwhelming urge to seize this moment fully, to embrace whatever flicker of hope remained before he left for good. But doubt gnawed at me relentlessly. Could anything truly come from this? Or were we merely indulging in fantasies spun from desire? We paused at a small park where children played nearby, laughter filling the air like music. He turned to face me directly then, his expression shifting from playful to serious as he searched my eyes for answers only I could provide. I don't want you to forget me, he said quietly. The sincerity in his tone pierced through my heart like an arrow aimed directly at my most vulnerable core. How could I? I replied instinctively, words tumbling forth before rationality could catch up with them. But even as they left my lips, doubts crept back in. What if forgetting became necessary for both our sakes? What if holding on to these moments only deepened our pain when reality inevitably crashed down upon us? We continued walking until dusk settled over Asheville like a soft blanket draping itself over everything familiar yet tinged with uncertainty. As twilight approached and street lamps flickered on one by one illuminating our path ahead dimly yet warmly against encroaching darkness looming around corners unseen waiting patiently just beyond reach ready to pounce when least expected. Can you promise me something? He asked suddenly stopping mid-step forcing me into focus once more. What? Promise you'll think about what comes after. His request hung heavily between us. A challenge wrapped within vulnerability demanding consideration while simultaneously evoking fear deep within me threatening upheaval if answered too hastily or flippantly dismissed altogether without proper reflection weighing consequences heavily against potential outcomes yet unseen still lingering tantalizingly close enough. I'll try. I finally said hesitantly unsure how much weight such words carried or whether they'd suffice given circumstances spiraling ever closer toward inevitable conclusion awaiting patiently just beyond horizon beckoning softly whispering promises unfulfilled thus far. As night descended fully upon Asheville cloaking streets familiar now transformed into shadows dancing playfully beneath moonlight cast overhead illuminating paths winding ahead uncertain destinations lying hidden beneath surface obscured by expectations left. Unmet desires simmering quietly below surface waiting patiently ready spring forth should chance arise unexpectedly. But then abruptly he pulled away, breaking spell woven tightly around us both, leaving emptiness behind, filled only by echoes lingering, still reverberating through silence, left hanging thickly between breaths taken too quickly, hearts pounding loudly, echoing realities. Faced head-on, unwillingly forced into collision course set long ago, paved carefully despite obstacles strewn across, path leading nowhere good, ultimately leading nowhere good. We need to go back. His voice broke through fog, enveloping thoughts swirling endlessly around, possibilities suddenly evaporating before eyes wide open, staring into abyss stretched endlessly before us, daring exploration while simultaneously warning against such reckless abandon. Inviting danger lurking nearby, waiting patiently ready, strike at slightest misstep, leaving nothing but chaos behind, shattered dreams, scattered remnants lost forever amidst rubble left behind. And so we turned toward familiar streets lined with memories etched deep within, hearts entwined, forever changed, irrevocably altered by choices made along way, whether right wrong unclear, still lingering shadows haunting every step taken, forward backward, drawing nearer. Finality looming ever closer, pressing down upon shoulders, heavy laden burdens carried silently onward, refusing surrender despite mounting evidence suggesting otherwise, urging caution, urging retreat before it's too late. But then came realization crashing down, shattering illusions built carefully over time, revealing stark truth hidden beneath layers thickly woven, protecting fragile hearts longing connection, intimacy seeking solace found, only fleeting moments stolen away, drifting swiftly through fingers grasped too tightly, slipping away unnoticed until nothing remained except echoes fading softly into night, leaving emptiness behind, aching void, yearning filled, desperately searching for something, anything capable, bridging chasm created, separating two souls, intertwined fates forever changed, irrevocably altered by choices made along way, leading nowhere good, ultimately leading nowhere good.